Hey, welcome back everyone. We are now approaching the end of October of 2022, and that only means that the new year is actually getting closer to when we're finally able to see the Mandalorian Season 3, the Ahsoka series, and a whole lot more by Favreau and Filoni. Next year's Celebration and D23 event are by far going to be the biggest of all under Disney's wing, given the amount of announcements on the horizon. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you also very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now that brings us to where we stand today between Favreau, Filoni, Lucas, bringing in tons of Star Wars Legends material that's going to be made officially canon under Disney that will be something very much revolutionary when it's applied to the existing and upcoming shows. Now, given that there's a lot of things in the works at the same exact time, Kathleen Kennedy is also having a very difficult time with a number of different scenarios over at Lucasfilm behind the scenes, and has been having an issue for the past 11 months. Now, given that of course Disney executives have been getting more and more involved with the struggles by Kathleen Kennedy and what she's been up to before in the past, that also brings us to what's also been going on with Leslye Healdand, and we'll get into that in just a second. Now, with Kathleen Kennedy really only involved with the Acolyte and Skeleton Crew and, you know, different aspects of those shows, that brings us to one of the biggest subjects of all when it comes to one of the decisions that Kathleen Kennedy recently was actually forced to make through herself because of everything that she had caused with a specific show. Let's get into it. Now, with Kathleen Kennedy actively involved in the Acolyte and Skeleton Crew show, she is also causing more setbacks and issues for Disney executives to deal with. Now, it's noted that just recently Kathleen Kennedy made a big decision to delay one of the upcoming Star Wars shows for Disney Plus for multiple reasons, and Disney is said to not be happy about this at all and are very unsatisfied with her call on delaying the Acolyte show. Now, it's noted that initially the plan was to get the Acolyte released on Disney Plus by the holiday season of 2023, specifically right around Thanksgiving time in November. As of now, due to constraints on certain set builds and construction as well as rewrites, the show is now being delayed all the way until the middle of 2024. Now, Kennedy is the one who made this decision in order to give herself and Leslye Healdand enough time to sort out the rough angles of the show and to get things as perfect as possible and as much as they can. Now, let me pause here quickly for a second. Now, given that the Acolyte has a lot of fixes that were applied by Favreau and Filoni, and since they left, Kathleen Kennedy's been undoing a lot of that. Most recently, Disney gave them the ultimatum to stop deleting and/or erasing John and Dave's work, and she did. And that's good news, at least, that some remaining material of the fixes applied by John and Dave will remain. The biggest question of all is, how is the tone or the theming of the Acolyte going to be presented or executed now that you have a mixture of Favreau and Filoni's work with Leslye and Kathleen Kennedy's work? That's really going to be, you know, a game changer. It's going to make fans either A, see these big differences between the tones of the show, or B, it's going to be all meshed together where it's just going to work out in its own. We'll have to wait and see. So, delaying this project all the way until the middle of 2024, by the way, the word on everything related to the show is that it's not going to be out until June of 24. That's the overall game plan right now by Kathleen Kennedy, and that is something that Disney executives are really not happy about at all. So for those of you that are looking forward to the Acolyte, and no judgment on you guys that actually are waiting for this show, I know it's a Kathleen Kennedy-centered project, but it won't be coming out for a while. Alright, so we got all of next year to go through, and then all of the first half of 2024 before the show's going to see the light of day. And who knows, you know, there might be more setbacks or more constraints on set builds that may even push the release date even further throughout that year. We'll have to wait and see. Now, the next thing that I do want to go over that's very crucial to all of this has a lot to do with other reasons. Now, writer Leslye Healdand, surprisingly, is even unhappy about Kathleen Kennedy's decision on delaying this project until the middle of 2024, since the show is then going to compete with the planned Mandalorian for that very year. Kennedy also had to delay the series, that drastically, of course, also due to Favreau and Filoni recently leaving from fixing the project and focusing on other series now, where Kennedy is left to have Leslye Healdand piece things together after Disney gave Kennedy an ultimatum to no longer delete any work done by John and Dave for, of course, the scripts. As of now, the series budget is decreasing that was approved by Bob Chapek to keep costs low of a series that may not do well with the ratings on Disney+. Both Kennedy and Leslye are attempting to make the series outperform The Mandalorian and the planned Ahsoka Tano series by Favreau and Filoni. Now, here's the thing that I think Kathleen Kennedy is a little over her head with, is that she thinks that The Acolyte has a chance at outperforming shows like The Mandalorian and Ahsoka. I really don't see that happening, and again, you know, I know that I'm not one to judge a show just yet before the footage is even released, but let's look at the facts. There's a lot of setbacks, there's a lot of delays here, a lot of problems with the production, and more potential problems on the line. I just don't see this outperforming The Acolyte, or should I say the Ahsoka series, and or The Mandalorian, not even close. That's just my, prejudgment there. So, when we look at everything related to what Kathleen Kennedy has done to the franchise before in the past, delaying projects, canceling projects, again, this is the latest example of The Acolyte, of a specific show or project once again getting either A, delayed in this scenario, and or canceled in other scenarios. It's just like almost expected by Kathleen Kennedy, and given that Leslye Healdand is not happy about this, Disney executives are not happy about this at all as well. That just goes to show you that Kathleen Kennedy really is bad news when it comes to Star Wars, when you really have Disney execs getting very, angered about this. Now, given that The Acolyte is going to have Old Republic elements in there, we already talked about this, flashback scenes specifically, that I think might be the big thing that fans are looking forward to. Kind of like how with The Mandalorian Season 2, for those that, and I'm not saying that it's a large scale, but there are few fans out there that did not like The Mandalorian Season 2, but really looked forward to the cameos that were being inserted. And it's almost like for those that are not really interested in The Acolyte, they themselves are looking forward to the Old Republic flashbacks. So there will be elements in there that could very well be served as the good points in the show. Kind of like with Kenobi, even though the story was very, disjointed and very out of place, it had its moments. It had the flashbacks of the Clone Wars. It had Vader being pieced together. It had Kenobi getting set on fire. It had those moments. So anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you guys have to say about all of this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.